And we are live. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry we're running a couple minutes behind. Dr. Cindy and I were having a few technical glitches, but I think we've worked everything out now. I'm really excited tonight because we're going to have our first cooking demo. So I'm just going to give a few minutes for people to come in, and then we will get started. Before we do that, I just want to make an announcement. I'm really excited to announce that registration is now open for our spring retreat, a weekend for me, which will be held in Cambridge, Maryland, March 24th through March 26th. So you can get information about that at www.aweekendforme.com. Okay, so I guess we'll get started. Welcome, Dr. Cindy.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. So Dr. Croy is a family physician who taught herself to cook. The kitchen has become her happy place, and she enjoys sharing lessons learned with other people who neglected to learn this basic life skill while growing up. So Dr. Cindy posts recipes with detailed instructions written in simple language at drcindysrecipes.com. She teaches individual and group classes and has published a cookbook and has a YouTube channel with short videos of recipe preparation. So I'm going to list all of her links in the comments. I will also list her, I will also include this recipe in the comments so that you can play the replay and follow along to make this scrumptious meal. So Dr. Cindy, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I said that already.
It's okay. It's all right. You're still welcome. So you're a family physician by trade. So yes. Tell me, how do you go from being a family physician to being Dr. Cindy's Recipes? Tell me about that journey.
Well, that is a little bit about. I'm going to start my boiling my water to boil while we're talking. Okay. So that we have time to get done, because this is going to take the whole 30 minutes, I'm afraid. But anyway, when my kids left home, so it's really a life stages lesson or story. When my kids left home, I was bored and they kept calling me, asking me for recipes. How do you make this, Mom? How do you make that? And I was always away from my computer or away from my cookbooks when they would ask, and I couldn't tell them. So that was frustrating. So for Christmas one year, I made them a website and started posting my recipes.
Very good.
Yeah. 2020, everyone.
What are we making tonight? What are we making tonight? Just so we know.
Tonight we're making tacos with quinoa. I'm trying to get that in the camera. So I'm starting the quinoa to boil because I don't have some pre-made.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna put it in the pot and turn the burner.
Oh, I think we lost Dr. Cindy. So while we're waiting for her to rejoin, so I just want to let you know that she, in addition to being Dr. Cindy's Recipes, she also works in tech. I don't know if you noticed that she talked about having her recipes posted on a website. Okay, here she comes.
I lost you. Okay. I think I touched my phone. Dog. Sorry about the dog.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you were saying we're making quinoa tacos?
Quinoa tacos. And I put the water and quinoa in the pan. And we're going to let it boil while we talk.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So you mentioned that you put all of the recipes on a website. Yeah. So that, makes me think that you have some skill with technology. So tell me about that. So Dr. Cindy's Recipes, is that how you live now, or are there other things that you do?
Oh, no, I owned my own private practice for 20 years, and I closed that in 2018 and started working as a consultant for a tech company. I don't do the tech. I translate medicine for the AI that we're building and the program, and kind of explain medicine to both the computer and the computer engineers. So basically, I'm still learning medicine. It's more like medical school than it is actually taking care of patients, because I have to go through the basic science of, why would you diagnose this disease and that disease and the other. So that's what I do during my days.
Okay, so this is a kind of it's a system where you plug in symptoms and it spits out a diagnosis. Is that what the goal is?
Yes, that's part of it. Yes. And we're also adding in treatment suggestions, and we're doing a chronic care module. It should be really nice when it's completed.
So who's the target audience for that?
Right now it's being used in urgent cares, and they're going to expand. We've got several clients in different specialties and industries, so it'll be interesting.
It sounds exciting.
It could be really good. Yeah.
Okay, but it is not for the consumer. At this point.
No, it's for healthcare organizations.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if it was like, WebMD, where people go and
no,
put their symptoms in and it spits something out, and and then it ends up kind of a disaster for us in the exam room.
Yeah. No. This is to help doctors, and we're building it so that doctors have an easier time with it. The computer does all the documentation and that kind of stuff. It should streamline the process of the office visit. And that's what it's.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Now, so I'm just going to make you go back, because you didn't tell us how you got from being a family physician to being in this tech space. So what were the things that kind of led you in that direction?
I mentioned that I owned my own practice, and while I was doing that, of course, margins were getting thinner and thinner, and reimbursement was getting lower and lower, and I spent my time a lot of my energy trying to figure out how to make my job easier. That's kind of my bent as in my personality, is like, how can I make this easier? How can this work better? And I started beta testing electronic health records, the first one in 2001. And so very early.
Yeah.
But it allowed me to eat dinner with my children instead of sitting them up, and they were 2 and 4 at the time, to setting them up at the table and going and sitting in the corner and doing my charts. I was able to start spending more time with my children, and that made it worthwhile. And so I've always tested new technology, and I got to do some things with the Family Practice Academy with some of their stuff they've done, and got to test new technology. And so that was kind of the focus. One of the things I did that I enjoyed, actually it came to be more than practicing medicine, was implementing the tech, figuring out how to make it work.
Okay.
I beta tested a lot of different programs over the years.
So if someone were interested in being a part of beta testing products, how did you get here? Did someone knock on your door and say, "Hey, Dr. Cindy, we'd like you to test this out"?
No, that's not how it works, because there's lots of people, lots of startups in the tech space right now, and there are lots of people, lots of doctors willing to do it for free. So to get paid is difficult, because it's fun.
Yeah.
But I went to meetings, and like I said, I was involved in a project with the Academy of Family Physicians. They tested the medical home concept, and I was in the focus group for that. So they supplied me with some. The first one I got from an article, and my office manager read that medical news, those newspapers they sent. She read that somebody was building an EHR and needed beta testers, and so we just called them and signed up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So and then my current job, I went to a meeting where they matched investors, physicians, and developers, startups, and talked the CEO of our company into hiring me.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to, deter from the recipe. So,
Oh.
I'm gonna actually go off camera. I'm gonna make you bigger, give you the big screen, and let you take folks through the recipe, and then we'll keep talking though.
Okay, let me see if I can turn my camera to the back so you can see. I didn't want to turn that off. Camera, I'm going to use the back camera so that you can see the quinoa is boiling. And now I'm going to start opening cans because I'm putting in some tomatoes, and I'm going to chop up the onion. And then when the quinoa gets closer to being done, we will start cooking it. But the way I got into cooking is my kids didn't ever want to go anywhere. They just wanted to stay home and play in the yard and have their friends over and play. And I guess I can't use a can opener and talk at the same time. But anyway, so I started experimenting with things because I was bored. They were there. I couldn't leave. I had to supervise, but not be in the middle of it when they were in, elementary school. And so I just started experimenting and figuring it out. It's a puzzle, like most of medicine is a puzzle, and a little bit of chemistry involved. My husband likes that part of it. And my kids learn to dread there may be this. I got a new experiment for you, but they were pretty good about it.
So are you largely self-taught?
Yes, all the way. I've taken a couple little classes, like when we were on trips and stuff like that. But for the most part, yes, it's all. I read everything I could and basically just experimented and learned as I go. I'm still learning. My son texted me Sunday. My children are grown now. So he has my little cookbook that I made, which is basic cooking skills. And at the time I wrote that, I didn't know how to make biscuits. I tried several different recipes and I couldn't do it. And so what I put in there about biscuits was to buy the frozen kind and use those because
well, they don't taste so bad.
Well, they don't. Those frozen buttermilk ones, and actually, we at the time lived in the town that where they made them, where the factory was. So,
okay.
Anyway, but biscuits are not a beginners. That cookbook is for beginners. Teach yourself to cook, and biscuits are not a beginners type recipe. I've since figured it out because someone told me what recipe to use. You always use the angel biscuits recipe. But anyway, that's how that works.
Very good. So now tell us what you're doing. So you chop the onions, you open your cans.
I'm getting the quinoa done. It's boiling a little fast. I'm afraid it won't get very soft. And I figured this recipe out. My kids wanted to do a taco bar for one of their parties. And of course, there were some vegetarians in the group, and I wasn't used to cooking for vegetarians. And I was just trying to think about how to do things. And I made some quinoa for something else. And I'm like, that kind of looks like ground beef, the same size and shape and texture. So I put some taco seasoning on it and spiffed it up, and the kids loved it. So
wow.
I've been making it ever since.
So do you serve it everywhere that you would ordinarily, use a taco? So in a shell or a taco salad or tostada shell or any of soft taco, any of those things?
Yes, I do. And I put, sometimes I mix in ground turkey. I have also done the same thing with like portobello mushrooms, mixing in with the sliced chicken or, just pretty much anything, and use the same seasonings. The only thing you have to think about when you're substituting grains is that they need more oil because your meat will have a little bit of fat on it.
Okay.
And so it's pretty dry, and the flavors don't stick as well if you don't have some sort of oil to add in them. And that's something that all these things about cooking, and when you start to become proficient at it, it's like because you tried and you screwed it up a couple times, and then you're like, okay, how do I fix that? Or you happen to read something that tells you like why it didn't work, or you just have to kind of play with it.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's about done. And so what we're going to do next is turn that burner off, and then I'm going to turn on. We moved 2 weeks ago, so I'm still learning this stove. Make sure I turn on the right burner this time.
And I didn't tell the guests where you are. Where are you, Dr. Cindy?
Right now, I'm in upstate South Carolina. Like I said, we moved 2 weeks ago. We did live in Missouri for the last 26 years.
Oh, wow. That's a big move.
Yes, it was. And we can find our socks and, everything that we need now. So
and your pots and pans, apparently.
Yeah, my pots and pans. Yeah, I found those pretty quick. So I'm heating up the oil, and I'm going to put these onions in here. When that gets, and then I pre-slice some bell pepper. And this is actually the key to being able to make dinner quickly when you get home from work, is to have things already done. So last week, my first trip to the grocery store in this town, I bought some bell peppers, and there were too many for the two of us to eat. So I sliced them up, put them in the freezer. So I pulled these out of the freezer, and they're still a little bit frozen, but they'll be good. So
they cook fine after they've been frozen.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put them in like a fresh salad, but in anything that you use to cook them with, you can do the same thing with onions, and I usually do that for demonstration purposes. It's nice to have something to cut, so that's why I didn't do that ahead of time. But I'll often buy a huge bag of onions and then chop them all up and fill up the freezer. And then you have onions for months.
That's a good idea, though. That's one of my least favorite things to do. So if I could do it all at once.
Oh, yeah. And then you can use your food processor. And so then you don't have to do the chopping, and it cuts down on the crying and everything. So something I read last week is to cook the onions first, because they take a little longer than the garlic. All the recipes say put the garlic in first. So I started trying that, and it seems like it does work better, because my garlic always burns.
Yeah.
So put the onions in first and let them start cooking. And see, the quinoa is nice and soft. So we're just going to let it sit there for a minute while we heat up all these veggies. And add a little bit of garlic. When you're cooking, a lot of people, and especially physicians, I found, are worried about giving the exact proportions. When you're cooking food like this, it doesn't matter that much. It's more about ratios. But if you're baking with a cake or any kind of pastry, you got to be careful about your exact measurements.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to put my green peppers in. Might have been better if I cut them in half, but this will be fine. And I don't actually have taco seasoning tonight because I forgot to get it when I went to the store, and my pantry is not completely stocked yet. So I'm using these chipotle peppers with some sauce, which has got a little bit of the Mexican flavor to it.
Okay.
And some cilantro, and ground cumin, which is a mainstay of Tex-Mex type food. And you can see I measure things really accurately.
Yes, I see that.
Now, these little peppers, you know, they come in this little can and you think, oh, that's not very many. Trust me, it's too many. And I'm always tempted, and half the time I succumb to put the whole can in there because it just seems better. But you can freeze that too, and that's what I'll do with it.
Okay. So now is this pretty spicy?
This will be a little bit spicy, but these peppers are hot, yes. Because
Okay.
chipotle peppers are actually roasted jalapeno.
Okay. So what you're doing now, how many people will that serve?
Probably 4, because my husband and I will get 2 meals off of it.
Okay.
And I always like to make extra and put it in the fridge because tomorrow I probably won't cook.
Right.
Because I won't want to. So now I'm putting this in here. And this is, with the spices, is where you would put your little packet of taco seasoning. If you had one. And these grains always need salt. So
just regular white salt?
This is Himalayan salt because it's
Okay.
what I thought it looked cute when I was at the store. I didn't have any other salt, so that's what I'm using. It doesn't matter. And I always hear good things about Himalayan salts and why it's special. I don't know, so I bought some to try. Because that's how I do things.
That's pepper?
That's pepper. And you can see that, I don't know if you can tell with the pan, it's getting kind of dry because I put all those grains in there.
Okay.
So I'm going to add some oil. And tonight I have avocado oil. It doesn't really matter. The first time I made this, I had some pumpkin oil, which has kind of got a little bit lighter flavor. Or not lighter, it's got more flavor to it. And it added I like it in this dish.
So avocado oil, is that in a regular grocery store, or did you? Yeah. Is it a specialty?
You can tell I got this at Costco because it's huge.
Ah, okay. I guess I've never looked for avocado oil.
Newly popular.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's better than others. You might ask some of your nutritionist friends. So. Okay, so now this is done. This is ready to eat.
Oh, wow. And how long was that? That was less than 15 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
Longest part, and then cooking the quinoa and then chopping things. Now, I have some Rotel tomatoes, which I'll probably put in here.
Okay, and then you mentioned that this could also be done with ground beef or ground turkey or ground chicken.
I've done it with sliced portobello mushrooms, which was really good. You can do it with steak, but the quinoa, you want the ground turkey or the ground beef because it will mix better.
Oh, I see. But I guess I was asking, in place of the quinoa, you could do this same thing with ground turkey, ground beef, or ground chicken?
Yep.
Or not so much?
Yeah, that. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the stuff ready I've got the cheese, I've got the tortillas, I've got the guacamole, almost, and I've got the black beans. Could sprinkle it with a little bit of lime to add some extra flavor. All that, and we're done.
Great.
So now it's time for dinner.
Thank you. That's excellent. It's making me hungry, and I don't have any here. So
no. Well, I'd come up to you if
well, I thought about getting the ingredients and cooking along with you, and then I decided that was probably going to be disastrous on my part because
Well, if
I
you're trying
don't
to,
see that working so well.
yeah, if you're trying to navigate doing the broadcasts and all, that would be hard. But yeah, I've done that, and I do cooking lessons sometimes on Saturdays.
So
I'd
now,
love to
do
have
you
you.
have, I know on your website you have lots of recipes. Do you have one place where, a busy physician could find, really quick, nutritious recipes like these? Is there some place where they're housed in, just one location, quick, nutritious?
My No, everything's on my website, drcindysrecipes.com, and they are in categories. I don't think I have a quick recipe category, but I could add that. That's easy. There's some in my cookbook, and those are all really beginner recipes, which this would qualify as something that's easy for anyone to do. But yeah, it's on my website. And then if you sign up your email address on my website, I'll send you a new one every week.
Oh, great. Okay.
I won't promise they're all nutritious because I do like to make pecan pie and things like that. But
Yeah. I mean, variety is the spice of life, right?
That's right. That's certainly the spice of my life.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. So now you mentioned that you have cooking classes. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little more about your classes?
Well, I'm working on an online class, which will be just for do at your own pace, but I do group lessons, and we can make anything you want. I can make up the recipe for you for individuals or for groups. Anytime. I don't have anything set right now on the schedule because with the move, I've been a little bit discombobulated. So,
Sure. Thank you.
but
So tell our guest again where they can find you, Dr. Cindy.
drcindysrecipes.com.
Excellent.
And I look
And
forward
you're
to
also
talking to people.
on TikTok. Haven't I seen? I feel like I've seen some TikToks.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel, and those videos get posted to TikTok as well. So
Excellent.
Anywhere you are. Oh, and I have Instagram too, so you can find me anywhere. It's all drcindysrecipes.com.
Wonderful. And like I mentioned earlier, I will be putting all of Dr. Cindy's information as well as the recipe that she prepared tonight in the comments.
Yeah,
So
and if people have any questions or need a little help, just email me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cindy. Now I have to go try a recipe for myself.
Good luck with that.
Yes.
If you need help.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me today.
It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.